board. They had to hand it to a gentleman because women didn't go to board meetings.
Oh, my word.
So we've come a long way.
I don't know. That might not be such a bad idea.
What voice is that?
I didn't know that.
Will actually be at St. Paul's Chapel. If you remember, after 9/11, St. Paul's Chapel was the scene of where much of the grief and anger and devastation was remembered in that congregation. If you walked past it, it was covered with flowers, and it was always open for people to come in for prayer and meditation, or just to get away from it all. And so we're going to stop at St. John's because it's one of the few buildings downtown that still comes from that era. And let's see, it was built about 1730.
Wow.
And behind it, which you won't be able to see because it is all subsumed under the construction going on at the World Trade Center, was the Watch House. And maybe this is a good way to do this as we travel downtown. If you look in your packet, you will see a picture, thanks to the archives of the New York Public Library, of a building that you see both the exterior and the interior of. And a watch house was an interesting place. New York City did not have a police force until 1845. It was all done by volunteers. Although the people who worked in the watch house were paid 50 cents a night. What the watch houses were, there were 3 downtown, and we're not absolutely sure which one the congregation met in, but they rented space on Sundays after they moved out of people's homes to meet in the watch houses. Every night at 7 o'clock, men of the community would gather at the watch house, put on leather helmets and leather coverings, kind of like armor over their chest, grab their batons and go out on the streets and tell all the drunks to go home. And anybody else who was on the streets at that time. And so these watch houses were the only centers that New York had at the time. And fortunately, the church was able to rent them on Sunday mornings to meet and have their worship. So right will be St. Paul's Chapel, which was built in 1730. It's an Episcopal church. And right behind it, we can't drive over there because it's under the World Trade Center site, is where the watch house was located that you have a picture of, where the church had its first meetings. So we're in the area where most of the church members at that period of time would have lived. Where was the watch house? And we don't know exactly. There was a watch house at Hudson and Fulton Streets, but there were also ones at Wall and Broad Street and at Chatham Square and Catherine Street. We're not sure which one of those there were, but they were all down here in this neighborhood. And the picture that you have, I'm not sure, I don't know if it identifies where that is or not. All right, now we need to go to 412 Greenwich Street. Look to the right. It's underneath all of that construction. There's where the watch house was located.
Wow. So it's really under the World Trade Center.
And somewhere under all of that was the watch house.